Am I the idiot for not charging my son rent on a home he partially owns? My oldest son, 24, is not my wife's biological child, and is my child with my late wife. My late wife and I bought a 3-bedroom house when we got married. When I remarried, my current wife moved into this house with me, but I never put her name on the deed. The house was only in my name. My wife and I ended up having several children and needing to move into a bigger house. When we bought our new home, she wanted me to sell the old one. I said no, that this home was something my late wife and I purchased with the hope of one day passing on to our son. I would make it a rental property instead. That was one of the biggest fights we ever had. She insisted we compromise, but I refused to do so. When my son graduated from college, I put his name on the deed to the house with mine, which was another fight, but I felt he was the appropriate inheritor to his mother's share. I didn't share any of the rental income with him though, as I was still paying all the taxes and insurance. At this point, the mortgage is paid off. I net over $2,000 a month from this house, which goes into the household budget. My son just got engaged and wants to move into the house after he marries his fiancée. He suggested he pay half rent and eventually buy out my share of the house. I told my son I agreed to his plan of saving up to buy out my share, but instead of paying rent, he should just take over the taxes and insurance. We agreed to this. My wife is livid and says I am a massive idiot for dramatically decreasing our household income without consulting her. She likened my decision to financial abuse. I suggested we downsize to a smaller house now that our oldest 2 kids are leaving the nest, and we can rent out the larger one and be in the same situation as before, owning 2 homes and getting rental income from one. She called me a selfish prick and won't speak to me now. Am I the idiot? Now for comments before the update. You're the idiot. Not because of what you've done to your wife, but because of what you've done to your son. Why marry someone who is so entitled and hostile to your son? She wants to appropriate her inheritance for her own gain and has zero care for him. Even the $2,000 a month profit, half of that should have been going to an account for your son from day one. The fact that you can't even get her to show basic care for your son, then why make her your wife? Not the idiot your wife is. She's trying to seize property from your son even though he is the rightful inheritor. She wouldn't do this if it were her biological child. Needless to say, your wife just doesn't care for him. Also, you clearly stated that you already own a large house, and since your kids are moving out, you can move and rent out that house, which will probably bring in more profit. You're being reasonable while she is acting selfish. Update. Thanks to everyone that shared their perspectives. Looking at outside points of view was enlightening. This house is very complicated for me. I bought this house with my first wife, and for a long time, it represented the life not lived, a past that can't be reclaimed. Every room held memories that were a pitfall of emotion. One of the biggest fights I ever had with my current wife was about repainting the toddler's room, which I had last repainted with my late wife. Moving out of that house probably saved my marriage. We got to start over in a home that was just ours. So while yes, the home is a financial asset, it's also a source of emotional turmoil. Each time I walk inside, I'm hit with a bittersweet feeling, as I remember something I did there with my late wife. Anyway, I took my son and his fiancée to dinner. I talked to them about the house and what it represents. They talked about their plans to start a family there, just like his mom and I did. That made me emotional. I said I wanted to go ahead and put the house in both their names, even though they weren't married yet. I've been thinking a lot about his mom lately, and I think this is what she would want. They aren't going to pay me anything, but they are insisting on paying all the fees associated with drawing up a new deed, which is fine. They also don't want me to contribute anything financially to the wedding anymore. I agreed with these things, although I will still get them a gift. For a long time, that house has been full of strangers, but now my late wife's pictures will be on the walls again, and her family will grow inside. I think she will like that. Deep down, I always thought of that house as hers, so this makes me happy. The conversation with my wife was a little more complicated. When I told her I was giving them the houses, not having them buy me out, and I was going to do it before the wedding, she was really annoyed. She said it was a dumb decision, and that I was taking a huge financial risk on someone not even related to me, my son's fiancée. She asked what I would do if they broke up. We argued for a while, but she eventually said she was done talking about it, but that she was very disappointed in me. We've lived in our current house for 16 years. It's a massive home that we don't really need anymore with 1 kid moved out and 2 kids on the verge of moving out. I think we should downsize from a 6-bedroom to a 4-bedroom. but I'm going to wait until she isn't mad anymore to suggest this again. With the way the real estate market has gone, we could rent out the individual rooms in this house for close to 3 times what our mortgage payment on it is, and live in a smaller, more manageable property. She may or may not go for this, it depends. Regardless, we are in a fine financial situation. I feel good about my decision. It isn't about the money, it's about honoring those who are gone, and I feel like I did that, not the idiot. But I'd be very hesitant about putting a fiancé on the deed. At least wait till it's a wife. I've spent enough time on Reddit to know a lot of things can happen between now and the wedding, not the idiot. But please talk to your current wife. Stop cutting her out of huge decisions. She's been your partner in everything for many years. Are you going to make the same offer to your other children? Will they all get a house too? Inheriting stuff isn't just about value, it's about feelings too. Many marriages do not last. If you insist upon giving this to your son, put it in his name only. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for turning down a Christmas dinner invitation from my mom's family? So I, female 21, am currently in university and live in a dorm, using my own money and everything. My mom, female 40, had me when she was 19. My dad joined the military to provide, and so he was gone most of the time. My parents split up when I was young and my mom and I moved across the country. My mom started dating again when I was a teenager, and it was like I became invisible. When she married Gregory, male 50, it became even different. I grew really resentful when my mom had a new baby, and I'll admit that it wasn't healthy and neither was my attitude. When the time for university came, I got a good enough scholarship and moved out. I am honestly surprised they noticed I was even gone. I've gotten 2 texts from my mom a year, happy birthday and happy new year. Only this year did I get a 3rd text, and that's just to announce I have a new baby sister. So I got an email the other day that was pretty much an invite to a Christmas dinner that they were hosting, and it seems like a lot of extended family are going to be there. I don't want to be there, so I declined the invite. Yesterday I got a phone call from my mom crying about me deciding not to come for dinner and really wanting to see me. Then Gregory took the phone and all but called me an idiot while scolding me. It made me feel a little bad because she's still my mom and I feel like I should just go for her sake. Now for comments before the update, not the idiot. Only texts from your mom each year? No phone calls until now? You do what suits you. They've treated you like an acquaintance since she started dating and eventually married. It would be only normal for you to not wish to attend. Why waste a holiday with people who treat you that way? Your mother's husband's insults prove how he's felt all along. All the best to you, not the idiot. If your mom doesn't feel the need to stay in contact other than holidays, you aren't obligated to run home just because she asks you to. And the fact that she didn't tell Gregory to mind his own damn business is ridiculous. Update. So my mom's Christmas party went and passed this past Friday, and I figured I'd make this post as an update. Like I thought, my mom phoned me back because my grandma made her. She asked to meet me in person, but I said I didn't feel comfortable. She said she could bring Gregory or grandma if it would help. I said hell no to Gregory, which surprised her, but I did agree to grandma. After snow issues, we met in a coffee shop with grandma claiming she would be a mediator. I looked at my post to see your guys' advice, so I did no guide me before I left. I admitted to mom I didn't want to see her but thought this call would clear the air. I asked why barely only 2 texts a year, and she said Gregory told her college kids didn't need their moms, and she would be interfering. I asked why she couldn't at least phone me to invite me, and she said Gregory told her sending an invite made me on the same level as the other relatives and I would like to be respected. That made no freaking sense to me and I got so mad. I asked why the frick she even wanted me there when she would treat me like extended family. She told me when I was gone seeing how Gregory treated their kids made her realize she neglected me. She'd been going to therapy and wanted us to mend things. I pointed out listening to Gregory about me then was the dumbest possible thing she could do since he never liked me. I knew I'd start crying like a little witch, so I started ranting about how I'd rather not meet my half-siblings since I know I'd resent them. They don't deserve that. How my extended family also cast me out. How everyone blamed therapy not working on me. My mom was shocked, and even more shocked when grandma took my side in everything. I told her I was really sorry that I made her cry and it didn't make me feel better. She forgave me on that but told me it wasn't my fault, and she deserved it. My mom asked if I'd ever come home and I said that Gregory would either need to apologize or die. That was a bit harsh since I don't want him to die, so I said if he leaves forever is good too. My mom said she understood, started crying, apologized like 100 times and asked if she could text or phone me more often. I said sure because it still makes me feel like poop to see my mom cry. Since then, Mom has texted me and called me every day but hasn't tried to force things. I did not go to the party since Gregory has not apologized. Grandma has been staying with them and things aren't too good between them. They had big fights over him refusing to say sorry and how they treated me and aren't talking. I don't want my mom's marriage to end for the sake of her other kids, but I can't lie, it feels good to not be ignored. Apparently Mom wants to meet on Christmas or Christmas Eve. As long as Grandma comes I'll let her, but I don't know if we'll ever be close again. So thanks guys, your advice really did help and I am feeling better mentally. Comments before last update. Not the idiot. Good job sticking to your boundaries. I'm happy your mom is showing growth and realizing what was wrong, and I hope your relationship improves even if you're not super close. Also, a hell yeah to your amazing grandma for sticking by your side and acting as mediator. I hope you have a good Christmas and that things keep getting better for you. Not the idiot. I'm glad that your mother is understanding that she did a disservice to you and agrees that she neglected you. That's showing a lot more understanding and contrition than many mothers we see on here manage. Final update. So, I did meet with my mom. Grandma came too as per instructions for lunch. We didn't talk about Gregory or anything. It was just a short meeting over coffee. We just talked about school, the engineering program I'm in, guys I've dated and stuff. I guess it was nice to talk about myself even if it was awkward. She did ask me to spend more time with Grandma and that made Grandma smirk, which means Grandma kept her promise about never revealing we hang out. I paid for Mom as a gift, and she gave me an old baby photo of me that she got redeveloped as a gift. I thought that was nice. I let her hug me goodbye. She didn't cry this time, so I don't feel like crap. It still feels weird and I know it will for a long time, maybe forever. It's hard letting go of hurt, but it is what it is. Hope you guys have a good Christmas. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for saying my last goodbyes to a kid I used to nanny for? I, female 28, have been the nanny to this sweet little kid Franny, 8, for the past 3 years. She's honestly such an angel and I was super lucky to get to take care of her since we got along well and she never really started any trouble. It was also nice since they live in the same apartment complex as me. Anyways, I recently just started dating again for the first time since then due to a rough breakup. I ran into friends' parents while out on a date with my girlfriend who made it pretty clear they were uncomfortable that I was gay. Literally that night, I got a sudden text message saying they found a new nanny that worked better for their needs and that I wouldn't be welcome in their home again and not to contact them. I'm still pissed off, because we got along all fine until they realized I was a lesbian. Anyways, I went the next morning to question them in person since they live a floor up from me and saw they had gotten a neighbor to babysit who recognized me and invited me. In edit. I didn't go in and her parents were normally home during this time, so I expected to talk to them instead. Friend saw me from outside the door. So I kinda loosely said I wouldn't be seeing her for a while, but I cared for her very much. I felt that I couldn't just abandon this kid who I'd been watching for years now without a reason. Anyways, her parents ended up banging on my door today and yelling at me saying I went behind their back to manipulate their kid. Just wanted to hear what people say because I guess I could have emailed/called first asking to see Franny one last time to clear things but went over in person instead. There's no update this time. Just comments. You're the idiot. You had been fired and went behind the parents' back to contact their minor child. What other boundaries have you crossed? Not the idiot. I don't think the parents would have let you say a last goodbye, and I think that is exceedingly sad. I am an older lady and some neighbors who were nice to me, say 60 years ago, I still appreciate and think about occasionally. Kids do deserve closure and answers. The other neighbor invited you in and you said goodbye. Am I the idiot for bringing my boyfriend to my sister's wedding? My, male 29, parents died when I was in elementary school and an old family friend took me in. He's always treated me well. My adopted siblings are awesome and most people assume that we're blood related. My adopted mom has always hated me. She'll act neutral enough around her husband, but she completely tears me down, and she's always been like that. My siblings have always had my back 100% and have stood up to her when they could when we were younger. My adopted dad apologizes for her behavior, but it's been about 20 years and I pretty much ran out of the house as soon as I finished high school. I still showed up for holidays and major events. A few years later when I came out as bi to my family, my mom pretty much used this as a chance to disown me and just openly started insulting me and being nasty. My relationship with my siblings hasn't changed much. I video chat and talk to my siblings all the time and visit about once a week since we live in different cities. They don't apologize for their mom's behavior. We just don't talk about her. My sister's wedding was small because of COVID. Just close family and friends. I was beyond happy that she was still getting some of her wedding and that she was happy. I brought my longtime best friend, now a boyfriend of a few years. Everyone knows him. He's been in my life for the last 10 years, but we only started dating about a year ago. My sister warned me that her mom would be at the wedding, but she'd already told her to be on her best behavior and deal with it, or she'd be uninvited. Her mom promised to be on good behavior. Fortunately, she held it together for the ceremony, but things went downhill at the reception, where she started a whole scene about me being there and sprinkled in stuff about my boyfriend. It went from snide comments and insults to a full-blown argument. My dad managed to get her to calm down, and she disappeared for a while and came back later to just ignore me. But now the whole story made it to our wider family and acquaintances. Both extended families and pretty much everyone are blaming me for picking a fight with her. I didn't approach her at all. My brother is just generally angry because my sister was upset. Brother-in-law is less angry but more worried about her. My dad is apologizing to his wife. I'm glad to have been there to see my sister get married, but I feel like I ruined her big day by just being there and also bringing my boyfriend. He's not mad at my siblings and he's been really understanding, if also pissed off at pretty much everyone else. Am I the idiot for going to my sister's wedding and bringing my boyfriend despite her mom hating me? The fight was her approaching me to insult me. My otherwise quiet boyfriend is defending me. Her insulting him as well. Me arguing back with her. My brother stormed over to shut it down, but she started to yell at him. More yelling from me. Then finally the groom came over to get her to relax. She accused me of coming because I don't like the groom. I don't. The start of his relationship with my sister was rocky. My brother and I begrudgingly accepted him because he makes her happy. Then my sister and my dad came over to calm everyone down. My sister said she was okay and it wasn't my fault, but she'd been crying and hasn't talked to anyone but her husband so far. Now for comments before the update. Not the idiot. Your mother's poorly concealed homophobia isn't your fault, and you were allowed to bring a guest. Who else did your sister expect you to bring besides your significant other? Not the idiot. Your adoptive mom is. She escalated the situation, it sounds like. Don't let people who weren't there tell you how it should have happened. You didn't mention if your sister is upset or not. Have you talked to her about what happened? If your sister's mad at anyone, it's probably your mom, not you. Sorry this happened to you, OP. Update. Thanks everyone. Some people asked about my adoption. My dad pressured my mom into adopting me. He was friends with my birth parents before they died. Adoptive mom thinks he was in love with my bio mom and had him take a paternity test before adopting me. It came back negative. They adopted me. My sister called me back a week after the wedding. She apologized for our mom causing a scene and asked if BF and I were okay. I apologized for not immediately removing us from the situation when things went down. We both agreed that our mom would have likely still have caused the scene. She said was overwhelmed and emotionally exhausted from the stress of replanning the wedding and the fight. She needed time to process and not be on. Brother-in-law was doting on her for a few days while she took some time for herself. Some people said my sister was homophobic because she didn't defend me immediately or contact me right after the wedding. My sister is both the oldest sibling and the peacemaker in the family. She might as well be a saint with everything she puts up with between our mom's moods and our dad's hands-off parenting and her younger brothers occasionally being idiots. She's the first person I came out to and my biggest supporter and defender. I never realized how much pressure my family puts on her to be the mature maternal figure until brother-in-law called me out. The angry extended family was a mix of homophobia and anger that they weren't important enough to be there. My brother said their mom was telling people that I'm the one who started things because I hate BIL/her/in-laws/ etc. and a lot of other more dramatic details that didn't happen. It got bad enough that mother-in-law of all people called her a liar and came to my defense. Then mom decided to throw father-in-law being a serial cheater into the argument, and now both extended families are flip-flopping sides. Normally, our dad would placate our mom and our sister would try to smooth everything over. She's pretty much hung out to dry on her own. Sister and brother-in-law have gone Elsie with her mom. My dad apologized on her behalf to my sister and me. My brother is the only one still talking to her, but only through dad, who he feels bad for. We're all dodging the mess that is the fight between the in-laws. My BF and I also discussed things. He's been incredible, and I'm going completely no contact with my adopted mom. Luckily, neither my dad nor my brother will give my mom my phone number so she can't bother us. We never speak and only see each other roughly every 2 years, so it's not a loss. I'm not sure how I feel about my dad. I love and appreciate him for adopting me, but we're on shaky ground. That's pretty much it, not the idiot. I'm glad you have such a great support system. Your adoptive mom is very toxic, and it's for the best that you go no contact. Good for you, it's a hard thing to do. Not the idiot. Your sister does sound like a saint. It is absolutely stressful being the peacekeeper of the family. It sounds like your dad is punishing himself for something, cheating maybe? That's why he's putting up with your adoptive mom's craziness. But if I were him, I'd be better off being alone than to live with that kind of treatment day in and day out. You did nothing wrong being there and bringing your BF. It's totally your adoptive mom's issue. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for yelling at my mother when she said that I had to make up for all the chores I missed out on when I had cancer? I literally cannot believe I'm writing this, but here goes. I, female 17, was diagnosed with stage 4, all as a kid. Wasn't supposed to live. Parents decided to put me through chemotherapy to extend my life for a few months. I ended up surviving, and it's been about a decade since my initial diagnosis. I'm cancer-free now. My parents own 2 houses. For one, they hire people to clean it, and for the other, we take care of it. My parents are pretty well off, but they believe in hard-working values and want my brother and I to know how to care for ourselves and our future houses, which I think is great. The last time we were at the second house, the one we care for, we had an all-day cleaning of the whole house and yard. I wanted to call my friends later in the day, so I decided to get up early and do my end of the chores first so that I would have time to talk with my friends. There was a list of chores on the table. I spent a few hours doing half of the chores on the list. To reiterate, I did half of the chores myself, leaving the other half to be split between my mother, my father, and my brother. I didn't choose the easiest ones or anything, I just went in order from top to bottom on the list. And I stopped when I got halfway down. Weeding, raking, pressure washing the driveway, laundry, clean bathrooms, dishes, vacuum basement and main floor, clean the boat, put the covers on the jet skis, and a few others I don't remember ATM. Anyway, when I was done I called my friends. Mother walked in and saw me on the phone and got mad, and I told her I already did my share. Actually, more than my share of chores. She then said something along the lines of, "It's still not enough because you have to make up for all the chores you missed when you were sick." I'm literally so angry typing this. Sick is what she refers to as the whole cancer deal. I can't believe she'd use that against me, like it was my fault. I told her that she had a lot of nerve considering that I was literally freaking dying at the time, and that she hadn't done a single chore on the list. She was really upset and went into her room and slammed the door. She did end up doing a few of the chores, but me and my brother and my father picked up the rest. She was passive-aggressive the rest of the day. This happened a few weeks ago, but she still brings it up whenever I'm doing something that's not chores, saying I'm lazy and that I need to make up for the lost time during my cancer period. I haven't said anything to her about it since. I ignore it now. Am I the idiot here? I did go off on her, and in the heat of the moment I was pretty loud. I probably should have handled it in a more calm manner than I did. But I also think it was way out of line for her to use my cancer against me. Edit, many have asked if I can talk to my father about this. I can't because he wasn't there to hear it, and it's my mother's words against mine. And there's no proof, so he would take neutral ground, which I don't blame him for. I wouldn't believe this if it hadn't happened to me. Edit 2. I've still got at least another year here. When summer is over I start senior year of high school. Then another summer at home and then college. Also I am considering staying at home longer so my brother doesn't have to deal with this poop. He's younger than me and he is more timid and cries when people yell at him. I don't blame him though. If I stay I can sort of shield him from that, but he's the only thing keeping me on the fence. I really want to move out. I haven't decided yet, but for now thanks for the advice. Edit 3. I will eventually get to all the comments. I promise I read them all, thanks to everyone who responds. Edit 4. Sorry for all the edits, but this blew up overnight, and thank you for the awards. It's taking me a while to read everything, but I'm going to do it. Edit 5. Many of you said all isn't diagnosed in stages. It actually is, just not numbered stages. We use #S to talk about it because it's how my doctors explained it to 8-year-old me that I didn't have long to live. Also many people don't understand B cell versus T cell stuff, but they get stages 1 to 4. And since then the term stuck. Sorry about the confusion. Now for comments before the update, not the idiot. Tell her next that you're making up for all the time you lost having a life, and record her from now on. If you need proof your mom is being an idiot and blaming you for having cancer, that's your best bet. Not the idiot, of course. I would discreetly be keeping your phone on record when she gets like this and privately have a sit down with your dad. That way he has no way of denying it, and your mom can't lie her way out of it. Proof is proof. Make sure you have your phone secured at all times, though. Update. I ended up getting into a big fight with my mother over the summer, and she kept deflecting and refused to take any blame for anything. The fight wasn't just about the last post. It also included controlling behaviors, like the hairdryer post, and other things that I felt she needed to acknowledge. The issue is that she's never apologized to me before ever, and she still refused to. I even admitted that I was wrong on some things and tried to compromise, but she didn't relent. So I told her that if she wasn't going to put an effort into fixing our relationship, I'd need a therapist, again, to talk to about our issues. I phrased it as I need help because something is wrong with me sort of thing, so she'd be more likely to agree, and she did. I've been doing Zoom therapy sessions. BC, I live in the USA and we are still on lockdown. Joy. And my therapist is great. She listens and offers advice. The only issue is that the things she says I need to do to fix things my mother haven't been working, again, because my mother cannot apologize for anything. So I'm kind of upset about that, but it's nice to have someone to talk to. I think I've realized that things are just gonna keep continuing like they are, with my mother doing messed up stuff and refusing to apologize, and I can't really do anything about it. One other small thing, my parents started holding money over my head recently in a "if you don't do what we want, we aren't paying for your college and we are kicking you out of the house as soon as you're 18. Sort of way. So that's kind of freaked up. I'm stuck between financial security and mental health security until I'm in and out of college. So like 5 years roughly. And I gotta choose financial security, unfortunately. Meaning they're gonna be in control of my life for a while, because it's what I can do at this point. Thank you to everyone who commented and offered advice. It means a lot that people read my post. Edit. Some info for you guys. I took the SAT and did extremely well, and I received a $20,000 a year scholarship for an out-of-state school. But that doesn't even cover half of the tuition of that school. I'm trying to find cheaper options, but it's hard. Edit. I got into in-state school on a scholarship, couldn't afford out-of-state, and I'll be going in the fall. Diagnosed with depression and got antidepressants, feeling a little better, but honestly the situation won't be completely solved until I'm out of the house. I also am working 2 part-time jobs to save money. Still doing therapy. I don't know if anyone will read this, but if you do, things have slightly improved. Not the idiot. What you do now is start making plans, learning stuff. There are tons of free courses online, Python, etc., that you can use on college applications and freelance stuff to earn money. Put your spare time into your grades and extra learning to 100% so that you can apply for every possible scholarship available to you. And then as soon as you turn 18/graduate/move to college, you cut them off. Not the idiot. You have an excellent attitude, and it sounds like the therapist is helping you manage the things you cannot change. As others have said, plan your escape route. Make sure your brother knows you're there for him even if you're not physically there, and build your life. I wish you so much success and happiness. Am I the idiot for spending way more money on one niece's gift than the other? I, female 42, have 2 nieces, Jessica and Jane, both of which are female 18. I have always been a lot closer to Jessica than to Jane, so this issue between me and Jane, and her mother, Mary, has been brewing for quite a while. I don't think this is my fault. Part of it is just natural because Jessica and I enjoy similar things, but also, Jane often makes the conscious decision to exclude herself, as in, I will invite her, and she says no, but she still gets upset that the end result is that I am closer to Jessica, as does Mary. Now that the girls are older, I find it a lot easier to just ask them upfront what they want for Christmas. Usually they both give me a short list of things they like and they pick something. Both of them listed gift cards for shops this year, so I thought it would be great. I'll buy them each a gift card and a box of chocolates or something. I bought Jane's and then went to buy Jessica's, and here's where I may have fricked up. The shop she sent me to was amazing, but very expensive. Like I said, we both enjoy the same things, and one of those things is clothes. One of the dresses in particular was gorgeous, and I knew Jessica would love it. But a gift card for £25, what I got Jane, wouldn't even cover an eighth of the cost. I adored the dress and my first thought was how excited she'd be to unwrap it. So I ordered it as a bit of an impulse decision. We have an uncles and aunts group chat where we share what we got for the kids so there's no crossover. I said that I'd bought a gift card from X shop for Jane and a dress from Y shop for Jessica. A small alarm bell did ring here, but I presumed that, like me, none of the other adults would recognize the brand. However, Mary did some investigating and was fuming that I spent so much on Jessica's gift, accusing me of favoritism, and some others did, perhaps fairly, agree that it was shitty to have such a monetary gap in between the presents. I said I'd get Jane something else from her list so she had a bigger present too, but Mary said that I should buy enough from Jane's list to make up the financial gap. I said that A, I could buy Jane's entire list and not fill the gap, and that B, that makes it a precedent, and I just cannot afford that amount of money to go towards every child. Since Jane and Jessica are similar in age and there's all the history, I'm happy to add an extra gift, and I did ask Mary if there was something more expensive than she usually expects that I could add to the gift card so she also gets a big gift. But Mary is still angry and freezing me out. I think she's told Jane. The rest of the family are determinedly not taking sides as it's now got very messy. I don't know what to do, am I the idiot? Edit. Okay, thanks to everyone. I can't bring myself to return the dress, but I think I'll put it aside as Jessica's parents won't have told her anything, and give it to her on another occasion. What I'd like to do is get Jessica something else for about £25 and then their presents will be equal. I also wouldn't be opposed to buying Jane a large gift that she'll really like if someone can direct me to something like that in time. I am very much hoping that I'm wrong about Mary telling Jane what happened, because then she'll still probably feel hurt. But honestly, if Mary has told Jane, I don't think any changes to the gifts themselves will resolve it. I'll order Jessica something else, and then call Mary to apologize and check if Jane knows. I think if she does, I'll call her to explain myself and apologize too. Update. I was able to talk to Mary last night. Unfortunately, I was right about her telling Jane. I really don't know why. And she said that she and her husband had already bought Jane that big thing she asked for this year. But I should ask Jane for what else she wanted. Jane says that she doesn't want anything else, and also that she does not want to do anything together. I'm not sure if that's because she generally doesn't like spending time with me or because she's hurt. Probably a combination of both. So I'll try again once she's had time to cool down. I've ordered a pair of £21 earrings for Jessica so their presents on the day should be equal, and I'll give her the dress next year. Maybe for her birthday, or when she's finished her A-levels or something. Thank you everyone who made a comment, especially those who offered constructive insight into how I could try and repair our relationship, or how I might have interpreted Jane's feelings incorrectly. Now for comments before the second update. You're the idiot. What's the price difference here? Double what Jane got? Triple? The fact that you said you could buy everything on Jane's list and still not spend the same amount is worrying. A tiny difference is fine. Buying an expensive designer dress for one and an impersonal $25 gift card for the other is not. Your favoritism is showing. You're the idiot. But only kind of. You're allowed to have favorites. What you aren't allowed to do is make that painfully obvious to the non-favorites. Update. I thought I'd write out an update now that the situation has been resolved as a thank you to Reddit. Thanks to everyone on the last post knocking some sense into me. I gave them equal Christmas gifts. I decided to give Jessica the dress when she got her A-level results. It has just been decided that her year won't be taking exams, but she still has a results day, so I think it will be fine. I sent Jane her £25 gift card, Jessica a pair of £21 earrings, and some slippers for both. Many commenters pointed out that Jane had rejected spending time with me during her teenage years, which are typically very turbulent, and that doesn't mean that we can have an adult relationship. However, Jane was still very upset with me as her mother had told her about the dress, so my plan was to let things blow over and then try and reach out to her again. She remained understandably hurt leading up to the Christmas period and unfortunately ended up lashing out at Jessica. She commented something unkind on an Instagram post and Jessica naturally retaliated, especially as she was confused as to what her cousin was talking about. It turned into a messy online fight, and many of Jessica's friends came to her defense, quite cruelly in some cases. At which point I got a phone call from Mary about how her daughter was being bullied because of me. I messaged Jane to check that she was okay and to ask her to remember that she was angry at me and not Jessica, but she didn't read it. Jane eventually sent a proper apology to Jessica, and I believe that Jane received apologies from some of Jessica's friends. However, they were both naturally very upset about the unkind messages they received, and Jessica was aware that Jane only apologized after their parents spoke, so it remained very tense between them. I felt awful about the fight, so messaged Jane again reiterating my previous apology. I explained to Jessica that Jane had caught wind that she was receiving a pricier gift this year, as she was obviously very confused, and apologized to her too. Jessica said thank you, but it was Jane's choice to be nasty online and not mine. Jane ignored my message again. I'm on good terms with both of my brothers, Jessica's dad, who generally has very little patience with Mary and this topic, and Jane's dad, who was very upset with Jane for what she wrote about her cousin, but Mary has been very cold. So you can imagine that between that and the girls there was some tension on the family Zoom call. I received thank you messages from both girls about their gifts. Jessica sent me a selfie of her wearing the earrings, and Jane even sent me a screenshot of what she ordered with her gift card. We're in a fresh lockdown, so there's not much point in making any plans, but Jane and I have been texting. She re-apologized, no fatherly intervention, this time for lashing out at Jessica, and things were a lot smoother on the New Year's Zoom. Thank you very much to everyone who helped me out with this. You're the idiot. Poor girls. You set them up for this by blatantly playing favorites, then sitting back to watch the chaos. I hope you are happy with yourself, OP. You're the idiot. I'm glad that you made their Christmas gifts more equal. But given they are the same age, are you planning on getting Jane a gift when she finishes high school too? It seems like this is creating a big wedge between the cousins, so I hope that the adults can try and work out how to avoid making this worse. Now for the next story. Would I be an idiot for taking a job with my dad's biggest client, meaning he won't get any more work with them? My dad has a business that me and my brother work for. I want to leave the family business entirely to my older brother. He says it makes the most sense because my older brother is his oldest child and has been in this business the longest. He has a business degree and knows much more about the business side of this work. While I do the physical aspect of the job very well, I was a bit impulsive when I was younger, so he doesn't think it would be a good idea for me to be in charge. To be honest, I don't think it would be either, but considering how much I contribute to this business, and that I am his son too, I think I should at least get some say in the future of the business, and a stake in the company. Not even half, but some. In the end my father said no, but that I would get some money after he died. The whole thing really pissed me off, and I was starting to get bitter continuing to work there, and be around them, so I gave my 2 weeks notice. I've just been trying to keep a neutral demeanor the whole time. This week is my last week, and Jared, the guy that represents our biggest client, was asking if I could take care of this other project next week. So I told him I would pass that along to my brother, but that I'm not going to be working here next week. Jared and I talk a lot and are pretty friendly with each other because I'm the one that mostly works this job. We've actually hung out outside of work a few times. So he asked why I was leaving. I just said for personal reasons. He asked where I was going to be working, and I told him I wasn't sure yet because there's not a lot of businesses that need employees with my skills. Anyway, today while I'm working, Jared's boss comes down and asks me if I will consider working for them. He said he's been thinking for a while of doing all this work in-house, but has been having trouble finding someone experienced since it's such a specialized field. He said he's always been very happy with my work, and that's why they always asked me. He offered me a 3-year contract, and the salary is so much more than I would ever have made at my dad's company, plus it comes with benefits and an office. Not sure what I'll do with an office, but that seems pretty cool. I also get to pick out the equipment, and I can hire 2 employees to work under me. Overall, it's an amazing deal, but I know that losing this client will hit my family's business hard. At the same time, it's not like I was asking for it or trying to steal their client. He was the one that came to me and wanted me. I thought about maybe using this as a bargaining chip with my dad to get some say and stake in the company. But honestly, I don't want to get it that way, and I just don't want to work with either of them anymore. Now for comments before the update. Not the idiot. I think putting in your 2-week notice was the final bargaining chip. If they didn't care enough to keep you then, they aren't going to care enough to keep you now. They'll just want their client back, and who knows what will happen after that. Maybe they keep their word to you, maybe not. Take this job. Secure your future. But be prepared for the backlash of your family. Not the idiot. Your dad was being completely unfair. You now have an awesome opportunity, go for it. I would, however, check any employment contracts you have and make sure you're doing it by the book. For example, my old contract stated I couldn't work in a competitor business until 6 months after I left my old place. Update. So it's been a while since my first post and things have been settled. I felt like a good amount of y'all said it was okay to take the job. There were a few that said I should give my dad and brother a heads up that this was all happening before I accepted the job so as not to blindside them. So that's what I did the day after I made my original post. The talk itself didn't go so smoothly though. They got pretty angry. My dad said this was a reason why it would have been bad to give me part of the business because I'm selfish and only think of myself when he's trying to keep over a dozen people employed. My brother said I was basically betraying the family because I didn't get something that I didn't really deserve from them. I didn't exactly want to stay around them anymore after that, so I just walked out early that day and decided not to finish out the rest of the week that I was going to. Later I called to formally accept the job. The equipment we ordered only came last week, so I was basically just being paid to stay at home and do nothing for the first few weeks. It was actually nice to have a break from everything before diving into work again. It's been pretty great at the new place though. My new workspace is a lot different, nicer, from my dad's shop. It's wide and open. It has air conditioning, assigned parking so no more fighting for a spot on the street. The office they gave me isn't huge, but it's also nice. Like I said in my previous post, I don't have much use for an office, but it's still nice to have a private place to myself, especially one with a mini fridge. Overall, I definitely feel much more appreciated here than I ever felt working with my dad. Speaking of which, I haven't talked to my dad or brother since, and I don't think I will. I had heard from Jared that right after I had left after talking to them about the job, they had called my new boss and tried to deter him from hiring me. I also heard from a cousin that my dad's business isn't doing so well right now, and they had to let some people go and are downsizing. Some of their other clients had shut down their businesses due to COVID. So that combined with losing their big client permanently hit them hard. Anyway, there is not much more to say than that. Many of you were right in that it all likely did permanently damage my relationship with my father and brother, but I still want to say thank you to everyone who encouraged me to take the job, not the idiot. They're mixing up cause and effect. Business partners are responsible for looking out for the well-being of the business. Employees are responsible for doing a job in return for money. Your father and brother made a decision that you are an employee instead of a business partner, and now they're mad at you for acting like an employee instead of a business partner. If they actually wanted you to act in the best interests of the business instead of seeking the highest pay and best working conditions for the job you are paid to do, they should have cut you in as a part owner so that it would actually be one of your responsibilities.